Okay, so now we're going to learn about how to write the equations of lines if you're given certain information. So you know that this is slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So it's called slope-intercept form, but it only has the y-intercept involved in it. So if I gave you the slope and said the slope is 6 and the y-intercept is 4, then you could write the equation of this very quickly. But what if I didn't give it to you like that? What if I gave you, well, the line passes through the point 3, 2 and has a slope of 4? What do you do with that? Because that isn't the y-intercept, and that doesn't tell you how to write the equation. So, remember, your slope-intercept form is your goal. So you're always going to want to get to y equals mx plus b. And slope-intercept requires the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so that's just a quick review of what I literally just said. Okay, so again, our goal is to get slope-intercept form, but you're going to use the tool of point-slope form, which requires you to know a point the line passes through, any point, and the slope of the line. And that's why it's called point-slope form, because you need a point it goes through and the slope of the line. So what is point-slope form? This is what it is. And I'm going to write it using different colors to show you something. That's a 1. So I want you to notice that I have colored in y1, kind of colored it in, m and x1, and m is the slope. So the slope of the line is m. A point the line passes through is x1, y1. Okay, so these letters, these ones that are not highlighted or a different color or anything like that, are meant to be letters. Okay, now this probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense yet, but it will. So let me rewrite that. So it's y minus something equals something times x minus something. And m goes here. And then the x value of the point goes with the x, and the y value of the point goes with the y. So what you're going to do is you're going to start off, and you could do like the shell like I just did. Like this. And then you can fill it in. So the slope goes here where m is located. From the x value, you will subtract the x value. So the x value of the point is the first one, so 5. And then from the y value, you will subtract the y value, which is -2. Now again, your goal is y equals mx plus b. So in other words, your goal is to get y alone. So I don't have any parentheses in that, so you can kind of tell that your first step would be distribute. So -1/10 x, and then plus, because a negative times a negative gets me plus 5/10, which is really 1/2, and so I might want to write that. But I also know that I have minus a negative, that's going to turn into positive. So let me rewrite this really quickly. And I need to get y alone, which means I need to get rid of this plus 2, so I'm going to subtract 2. So I get y equals negative 1/10 x minus 1.5, because 1/2 minus 2 is negative 1.5, which you can write as 3/2 if you want, but there's no specific need to. All right, so another one just to kind of show you how it works. So again, it's y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value of the point. That's the reason we have these subscripts, is just to remind you that it's the x value or the y value. So it's y minus the y value, which is negative 9. So I'm showing you me doing this without a shell, equals the slope. I guess I should have done in pink if I'm keeping up with my color coding. Times x minus the x value, which is 4. So if I distribute that, 1/2 x, and 1/2 times negative 4 is negative 2. And then this becomes plus. And again, I want to get y alone, so I'm going to subtract 9. So y equals 1/2 x minus 11. Now, you can also use point-slope form when you've been given 2 points. To use point-slope form, you need a point that it goes through, which we have 2, but we only need 1, and then we need the slope. So we need to find the slope. So remember that the slope formula is y minus the other y over x minus the other x. That'll help get me the slope that I need. So I'm going to start with 9. So 9 minus 5 over 3 minus 2, which is 4 over 1, which is 4. So the slope is 4. And then you can use either one of these points as a point that the line goes through, and you should still get the same answer provided that you do the math correctly. So I'm just going to pick one. There's no reason I picked the one I picked. So we would do y minus the y value, which is 5, equals the slope times x minus the x value. So then I get 4x minus 8, and that's y minus 5. And then I add 5. So I get y equals 4x minus 3. Okay, so one final equation. Again, we want to get to point-slope form, and then we want to use that to get us to slope-intercept form. So again, I need the slope. I have a point, and I can pick either one, and I'm going to go ahead and pick now. And I like to choose one, if I can avoid negatives, I'm going to avoid negatives. So I picked the one that had only positive values in it. So then the slope is y minus the other y. So 4 minus the other y. And then because I chose 4 to go first, I need 2 to go first on the other one. So 2 minus the other one. So then this becomes plus, that's how I got 5, and then this becomes plus, that's how I get 10, and then reduce that and get 1/2. So there's my slope. So y minus the y value equals the slope times x minus the x value from the point I chose. Then I need to get rid of my parentheses. And then I can add 4. And then I get that.